Today we will continue the third talk on this topic, and we will move to chapter 4 and 5, adjust, balance, and expedient means. And these two parts are very important in our daily life, especially in this pandemic timing. I hope that today's sharing will help everyone better to adjust ourselves from the pandemic timing and in transition to our normal life. Since the vaccination is going to be nationwide, so I would guess the normal life in the summer is coming soon. Okay, so chapter 4. In the previous chapter, we talked about how to condemn our 5 desires, and also how to eliminate our 5 hindrances, one from outside and one from inside. And now we need to, before practice the main method, we also need to adjust balance on these 5 aspects. The first one is food balance. Second, sleep balance. Third, body balance. Fourth, breath balance. And fifth, mind balance. And so I would like to share what to do in our daily life and what would happen in a retreat. So in the text of this book by Zhiyi, he used two analogies to describe how important it is to adjust the balance for the practitioners, especially in retreat. So if you have experience making pottery, and you will know that the texture of the clay that you are playing with are very important. So if it's too soft, then collapse during the process. If it's too firm, too tight, and too hard, then it's hardly for you to control the wheeling. During the wheeling, it's hard to control, and this is especially very important if you want to do a very elegant, fine, and pottery. The texture of the clay played a key role for your success. Okay, and the second analogy is tuning the instrument. So we all know that the different kinds of instrument, there is a string, right? And each string has different tone. So if you want to play a very good music, each string need to be at the precise tone. So you need to adjust the string. It's loose and tight. We need to adjust it so that the string can have the precise tone. So use these 2 analogies telling us that adjust the balance of these 5 aspects, just like making a right texture, clay texture, and precisely tuning the instrument, which is our body and mind that we are practicing with. And so if we don't have the balance of these 5 aspects, it's really hard for us to really get into the practice and let alone that get to the very subtle state and really to move on to the dhyanas. So first one is adjust the food balance. It includes the quality and quantity. Okay, so as we know, that there's a diagram, the pyramid for as a model, and especially for vegetarian people or for vegan people. And the nutrition balance, the food balance is especially important, especially during the pandemic, because we cannot eat out, and we probably need to cook by ourselves. And most people don't know how to cook, don't know the nutrition, because the restaurant is taking care of that for us. We just select the restaurant, select the menu we want, and we got the nutrition. And so during this pandemic, it's become a problem, because I found out even myself that the nutrition, it's a problem now. So there is for the vegan, I found a model for the vegan. It tells us that, you know, the carbohydrate, the vegetable, the fibers, the proteins, and the oil, all that need to be balanced. Otherwise, we cannot keep our body function normally. So the quality and quantity are indicated here. And if you know, there's of course, you can check out the nutrition book, textbook, tells you more. And especially for Asian diet, we emphasize the balance of yin and yang. Okay, so for example, especially for vegetarian people, so most of the food that we can eat, vegetables and fruits, those belongs to yin. Okay, so it's cold or cool, and those we cannot eat, like meat stuff, are more warm and hot and belongs to yang. So that's why when we cook vegetables, we need to put ginger. When we drink herbal tea, we put cinnamon, and that is to balance the yin and yang, or the cold and hot in our body. And if our body is too cold, the body cannot generate enough heat, and we are easily get sick. If our body is too hot, that the so-called heat cannot release, and usually, you know, if you have high blood pressure, you are easily to get a stroke or a heart attack. There are a very complicated, detailed theory from Chinese medicine. And so this is an example that the Chinese doctors categorize the foods and their yin and yang for us. So this is a good reference for us to balance our food. And also the second point for food balance is the quantity. If we eat too much, then our breathing will become shorter and faster, and the body gets fat. You know, we get fat, okay? And the circulation, our blood circulation stuck. And so, you know, the heart problem will be more significant, and the mind also gets stuck. And when we sit, the body and the brain thought cannot be at ease. So the body is kind of agitated, cannot calm, and the thought is just keep going because we eat too much. Okay, so that's one problem of eating too much. And I think my observation is that since we have limited outdoor activity right now, so most of the people get a little bit fatter. So spring is coming. We need to do something about it. And the other extreme is eat insufficiently. So some people want to lose weight, right? And so they eat very few amount of food, and that become a problem. Not in nutritional wise, that your body will get weak, and also the mind will be floating somehow. So your mind cannot collect and stable. Because you don't have enough physical power, the mind is kind of floating, and the thought and thinking will be fluctuate and uncertain, like, you know, and so, and here and there. So these are the things that we need to be aware of. And at least our mind power, especially for beginners, our mind powers cannot transcend the physical limitation yet. So we still, our mind and body is still influenced by the food that we eat. So we need to take care of that. And also the third point for food balance is that don't eat contaminated food or the so-called static or tamasic. Okay, I just know this word, food. The so-called contaminated food, also including the rotten food. Recently, we just talked about, you know, since we have too much stock and some of the nuts get bad, you know, and if we still eating those bad nuts, then that will be hurting our body as well. So, and contaminated, if you don't wash your vegetables, you know, you don't take, when you process the food, salads, and you don't wash your hands or something, the utensil is dirty, then you will, you know, E. coli problem, that you will have diarrhea, that the problem. So don't eat contaminated food. And then the static food means, especially for Buddhist, Chinese Buddhist monks and nuns, we don't eat onion, garlic, scallion, leek, and another kind of chive is another kind of onion. Because this food, if we eat it in raw, then we will easily get emotion angry. If we cook it and eat too much, it will induce our sexual desire, and then our mind will be up and down and easily trapped by the outside environment. So, and also for like some religions, they don't eat beef, and some don't eat pigs. You know, so there are different traditions. They have limited for certain food, and so they must have their reason. And the other level category is like mushroom, alcohol, you know, durian, blue cheese, most of the, you know, bacteria or fermented things, or opium and, you know, stale food. These categories doesn't mean that they are bad. Just like for practitioners, especially, or for certain religious people, or a certain faith system, that we don't eat this because it has, the study shows that those foods will affect our body and mind when we do practice. Okay, so these are one point for food balance. The other food balance that we need to pay attention to is eating inappropriate food, especially for chronic diseases that it will be a problem. So we need to know our physical conditions. For example, if you're allergic to peanuts, you know, eating peanut, when some people will die. And so we need to know what our allergies are. So recently people told me that, oh, Fashi, you might have allergy to gluten. So my body sometimes swollen. And, you know, and so I need to, you know, go test or just experiment, you know, when I eat this food, what is my reaction, my body reactions are. And if I don't eat this food, and what will that be? And then just experiment the food. And if certain food that is really harm to your body or mind, you know, and then just avoid it. And like diabetes, sugar problem, and high, low blood pressures. And recently I'm studying the dementia topics, because it's getting more and more statistically it become this bring it has more, and it happen more and more often to senior people, and they have the essential system change that we don't know, so they might unconsciously eating more sweeter or saltier food without knowing that they are hurting their bodies. And so, and also that we need to know if this is a trend for our modern people, because we have too much to eat. If it is become a problem for modern senior people, and we also need to know what to avoid so that we won't get dementia when we get old. Okay, so these are the examples that to avoid eating inappropriate foods in our daily life. And the second is to adjust balance of our sleep. Okay, now during the pandemic, we cannot go out, we cannot travel. Then people stayed at home, especially for those who are retired, don't know what to do. And I heard that a lot of people just sitting in front of the TV or sitting in front of your iPad, just watch the movie or sitcoms for the whole days. Okay, even in the midnight, because just too attractive, you just cannot stop it, and just, or you know, your iPhone, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the night, you are still awake and watching those things, and it's really bad. Buddhists suggest that the bad time, or you know, I check it out from the internet, is that okay, for school age, the bedtime, kids need to go to bed like at 8 p.m. and the teenager 9 p.m. Adults, you can go 10 or 11 p.m. And in a retreat here, our bedtime is 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. And Buddha, our Shakyamuni Buddha, his bedtime is 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. So 4 hours sleep is enough, because he was doing the sleeping samadhi. For ordinary people, 6 hours sleeping it should be enough, unless we are doing more hard work, or you know, then we have to adjust the sleep time for ourselves. Then that's the adjust the food and adjust the balance of sleep in the daily life and also in the retreat. And next is adjust body, breath, and mind. Okay, so I will talk about in the daily life first, because we need to prepare ourselves well enough, so when we go to the retreat, we don't need to spend too much time to take care of this part, and then we can get right into the practice faster. So the first one is to adjust the body balance. Usually, if we sit for too long, then the circulation is bad, and then we might have a blood coagulation problem, and so our muscle might get stuck, you know, have knots in our muscles. So even though we cannot go out and, you know, do exercise and workouts, we can do relaxation, stretching, and exercise at home, or yoga at home, so that we keep our bodies smooth, the circulation smooth, okay? The second is the breath. We have to balance the in-breath and out-breath, okay? So the most obvious thing is that when you get angry, watch your breathing. It's become heavy. And sometimes when people get sick, you will find out some people inhale is very shallow and exhale is very long. And so they don't get enough oxygen. So for the people who are dying, that's their symptom. Inhale very short, exhale very long. And then the last is the out-breath, long out-breath, and they pass away. So if you found out the breathing is not deep enough, then you need to do some workout. And if you have emotion, you still watch your breath, watch the breath and keep it balanced. And somehow it can calm down our mind, okay? So when I watch the talk on the dementia, and then the speaker specifically point out that those caregiver, those who take care of their parents or loved ones with dementia has high risk getting dementia themselves. The reason is that too much pressure from their abnormal behavior from their loved ones. Okay, so then they accumulate those pressure in their body, and those pressure will cause the possibility to get dementia in the future. That's from their studies. So the speaker suggests that they found out that caregivers most of the time has because they are so pressured, they most of the time they hold their breath. Like, you have told me this 20 times already, and the pressure is in your body. So the suggestion is out breath, like deep out breath, go somewhere, have deep out breath once a while. So if you found that you have a lot of pressure from your family members, because you spend 24 hours a day now, or from your works, because you get more and more work at home, work remotely is much pressure than work in the office, you found out. So if you found out you have so much pressure and then you want to scream out, that's good. But if you are at home, you cannot scream. Scream is also a way to exhale the pressure from your body. And then you can do deep out breathing at home or in the restroom. Just balance the body. Balance your breath is very important. And also the mind balance is to take care of our emotion, okay? Yeah, we have more emotion when people get closer. Okay, right now, you stay with your families 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you cannot work out, you cannot vacation, you cannot do a lot of things that you did before. And so the more emotion, and now, the pandemic caused a lot of problem and influence for so many people. And now when people try to release the angry, and people do another extreme things as well, including maybe, the anti-Asian hate something right now. And also some of the things like last year, all kinds of things will be amplified. And so we need a mind power that, the things is happening, when we need to take care of that. We need to do something about it, but without emotional response. Okay, we need to take care of this phenomena, these issues with calmer mind, so that we won't make mistake or make wrong decisions because of the emotion. Okay, so this mind balance, you know, again, I would like to share with you the Chinese medicine point of view. So they categorize the four elements, 5 elements: the water, wood, fire, earth, metal. And so different organs has different property, like livers belong to wood, gallbladder as well. And then heart and small intestine go to fire, stomach and spleen, earth, lung and large intestine, metal, kidney and bladder, water. So emotional wise, if we constantly have angry that we cannot release, it's hurting our liver and gallbladder. Okay, and then it will promote the fire. And then we not just have liver problem, we will have heart problem as well. Okay, so if we constantly have worry and thinking of this, thinking of worry of this, worry of that, and think too much, and the stomach and spleen has problem. Okay, and if we fear our future, we fear a lot of things, and or frightened, you know, then it will affect our kidney and bladder. I'm not talking about Chinese medicine here. I'm trying to give you an example of the theory that our body and emotions are connected together. Okay, our emotion will affect our body, our organ, the function of our organs, and the organ in return will affect our mind as well. And that of course affect our brain operation, that we will make the wrong decision and we might not be aware of certain things, or we might get dementia, all right? So we have to be careful, the adjust the balance of the food, the sleep, the body, the breath, and mind are very important in our daily life. But when we are in the retreat, it goes subtler, because we are sitting here, you know, without a lot of influence that we used to have in our daily life. It should be simple, but no, because we have to, in order to practice a method that the request for our body, breath, and mind is higher, in a better condition, because everything becomes so sensitive and everything will be amplified. So in a retreat, Master Zhiyi suggests that there are 3 stages in a retreat that we need to adjust our body, breath, and mind. So the first one is beginning of the sitting, beginning of our sitting. We need to adjust from coarse to subtle. So we have to adjust our body first, and then breath and the mind. And during the sitting, like 1 hour sitting, during the sitting, and we have to constantly check our body, breath, and mind. And whichever we found out has problem, then we have to adjust it quickly so that we can get back to the method. And the third point is ending of sitting. When the chime is hit, then it's time for us to end the section, and then we might go to take a break, or to do yoga, or to a more moving kind of practice. Then the process to adjust is the opposite from the beginning of the sitting. Is first we have to adjust the mind first, and then breath and the body. Okay, so here I will go in more detail because it's very important for the practitioners. So in beginning of the sitting, adjust the body is we have to keep our body in a very stable and relaxed condition. So stable that you can sit for an hour without moving, and then you won't feel body pain from incorrect posture. So if you do this for an hour, you will have pain everywhere. And then if you have like this, if you have incorrect postures, your body have pain. So you cannot sit for long, okay? So here are the seven points of meditation posture that we taught in our lineage that we guide as beginners. You had to have this 7 posture correctly. First, you wear loose pants so that you can cross your legs, like half lotus, full lotus, or loose form. If you are interested in this, in April, Chang Hwa Fashi is offering 2 classes of introduction of basic meditation. Okay, you will learn more detail. So the second, you check the hands right on top of left or left on top of right. Okay, in our system, left on top of right hands and 2 thumbs together. And the third, back straight. You keep our back and spine naturally straight. So sometimes we will put cushion, like me right now, put cushion and sit like half of the cushion. So it will lift our back so that it's naturally straight, okay? It's not shoulder kind of straight. This is not relaxed. It's like this, okay? The fourth is shoulder balance. So don't do this, and this. These are not balanced, okay? Just naturally hand on your spine and your arm. And next, your arm just put on top of your legs, and then naturally relax. And the 4 is neck should be straight so that your circulation to your brain will be smooth. And so usually the trick is tucking your chin a little bit, keep the neck straight. And the 6 is the tongue stick up so it encloses. So usually our chi will leak out from the tongue, the finger and the toe. So we cross the legs, enclose it. We enclose our palms and then chi enclose. The third is enclose the tongue. Okay, so the chi won't leak out. Enclose the good energy in the body. And the 7 is you can either keep the eyes semi-closed, like 20% open or fully closed, depends on your habit. So, and then Master Zhiyi also suggests that, before sitting, after we get a correct posture, we need to do our breathing out all the bad air that's stuck in our body somewhere. So out breathing slowly, okay? So that's before the sitting, we adjust the body posture mainly. And the second is adjust the breath. So when we sit upright here and then relax the body, and we will find out that the most significant movement is the lung, the breathing. Everything is still, only breathing is moving. So it becomes significant for us to observe. So if we have some problem, like, oh, I get cold, or I have some a health issue, and some people, the 8th floor will sounds like winds. it has sound. Okay, it has sound. Then we have to try, relax, adjust it, and do, during the break, do more exercise and stretching, and just like let the body heal your body. And breathing also can heal our body as well. Just adjust, relax, so that the breathing becomes no sound. And sometimes the breathing is no sound, but it's uneven. That means you found that your breathing is shallow, like, because it's stuck here. It cannot go down to your dantian, to your navel area. That means your breathing is shallow. That means the circulation stuck, your air floating stuck. So you just like very shallow. And then so again, adjust it and relax, exercise, stretching, so that it will get back to the normal breathing. Silently in and out, and deep to the navel area. And that's a normal state. But for the practitioners, through practice, actually we will get into the so-called subtle breathing or turtle breathing. The turtle breathing, sometimes, there is no movement here. Every cell in your body is breathing, no sound. So it's silent. Your breathing process become very slow and very subtle and no sound and very deep to go to every cells in your body. And sometimes people get to that point. So it's the process of, while we are sitting, at least the first three, if you found out the first two, okay, we need to adjust it. And then when you have number three, regular breathing, again, through relaxations, through using the method, it will gradually, naturally go to the subtle breathing, okay? And adjust the mind balance. First, we need to subdue our wandering thought and scattered thought, okay? So that, to tame the mind. So this happened for most of us. We sit there, okay, everything is right, breathing is well. And then, scattered thought. A wandering thought is like, oh, I'm wondering, what my kids doing now at home, my job, my boss, and just like, and scattered thought is like, it just no logic, no topic here and there, okay? So we need to use method. Sometimes the method is not your main method. If you're using Huatou or silent elimination, in the beginning, we can use counting the breath, just try to focus our mind, get rid of, subdue the wandering and scattered thought. And then, and we're sitting there. If we found out, the mind is sinking down, you don't have too much wandering thought, but the mind is like very down. And at this point, we need to bring the attention up to the nostril area. If you found out your mind is floating, that means, you don't have too much wandering thought, but then the people in front of you is moving, then you found it. And some people coughing there. And then, somebody's walking. Maybe Sufu is coming. So your mind easily attracted by what happened around you, which is not much in the retreat center, during the retreat, because everybody's sitting there. But your mind is very easily attached to something. Then we need to bring our attention to navel area. Bring the attention down so that it's firm. Okay, your mind is not floating around. And sometimes if you use the method too, very in a tense way, then you found that you have chest pain, very tight here. Then you have to loosen up, open your mind, open your chest and practice. And sometimes you're too loose, too loose. Eventually you fall asleep. But too loose is like you found that your mouth is open. You see, we have to close our mouth during sitting, right? Then eventually you're too loose. Gradually you open your mouth and maybe sometimes dripping the saliva. That means your mind's too loose. You have to tight up, close your mouth, sit upright, collect your body and mind and energize, practice the method. Okay, so that's what would happen in the beginning of the sitting. Okay, so that's first stage of sitting. We have to adjust our body and breath and the mind. Okay, and during the sitting, some people like 1 hour. It depends. You found out that your body is tense or tilt your shoulder, then you just immediately adjust it. And then when you use the method, you found out, oh, I'm too much wandering thought, then you come back to counting the breath. It depends on your situation. But during 1 hour sitting, that whatever you found out has problem, just adjust it according to this guideline. And the most important part is end of sitting. Okay, especially for advanced or experienced practitioners, you sit very well 1 hour. Your mind, your body, your breath go to a very subtle state. Okay, now the chime, the ringing of the chime. Then we need to, next section, maybe yoga. This is a very cross. Compared to your subtle state, this is a very rough movement here. Or maybe you need to go to the restroom. Those are very rough compared to your sitting status. The body, breath, and mind are in very subtle state. So here, it's very important. If you want to continue to have this kind of subtle status, if you don't do it right, from Master Zhiyi and from also Master Jichen and our Sifu, all the Chan teachers, all of them will tell you that it's very important to end your sitting. You have to follow the procedure here. So first, for the beginning of the sitting, we adjust the balance from the rough to the subtle. Body is rough, and then breath is in the middle, and mind is subtle. But then end of the sitting is the opposite. We have to adjust mind first. So whatever the main method you are using, put down your method and bring your attention to the whole body. Okay, you might be in the absorption or a samadhi state. Bring your attention to the whole body. And then open your mouth. Breathing out. That's Master Zhiyi's suggestion. Open your mouth and breathing out. And the body, slowly move in small scale. Sometimes you can move your thumb first, and then moving in a small scale, and then to a larger scale. And then stretch your legs and massage. You have to massage your whole body. Every cells in your body, help them get back to the normal status. And then you can stand up, do yoga, do walking meditation, or go to the restroom. Okay, so these are the 5 very important adjust balance Again, the food, sleep, body, breath, and mind. Okay, so hope that the same thing. Okay, here. Oops. Here. End of pandemic. Same thing. Your mind, your breath, and your body. Okay. The mind don't go too wild. And breath and body, if you want to do work out. If you used to, if you can run 10 miles, straight before pandemic, right now, don't go 10 miles all at once right now, because you don't know your mind and your blood vessels is strong enough like 1 year ago. So gradually, you can do 1 mile and then 2 miles for a week, 3 miles for a week, and get back to 10 miles. That's serious. Heart attack, stroke, because you don't know your body conditions. And if your body has too much, then they just quit. Okay, so whatever your habit, your plans are, end of pandemic, please resume your regular activity slowly, okay? And protect your mind, your breath, and your body. Adjust the balance first before you get back to the normal. All right. The chapter 5 expedient means. These are also very important for the practitioners in the retreat. Is, we got to have this mindset. Actually, these are the mindset that we need to prepare for ourselves to practice, especially if we want to reach the first dhyana. Okay, so it's not like, oh, you sit here so well and 1 hour and 1 hour, and your mind goes subtler and subtler, and then eventually you go to the first dhyana. It's not that simple. Okay, you will have lots of difficulties and challenges arise that will test you. So we need to have a determination first, diligence, and be mindful, and insight for discernment. We have to pick and choose. When things happen, do we have the right views? Do we have the wisdom to pick and choose which way to go? Which method to use? And then also, of course, single-mindedness. Okay, so first, from the treatise on the great perfection of wisdom, last time we shared the question, what are the expedient means for achieving dhyana paramita? Buddha answer, detach from the 5 sensual objects, we talk about that. Eliminate the 5 hindrances, we talk about that. And implement the 5 dharmas. Here, the 5 dharmas is this. The 5 expedient means that in the sastras that it follows the question, explain exactly these 5 items, 5 means that if we want to achieve dhyana paramita, we need to apply these 5 dharmas. Okay, so the first is the determination and willingness. Okay, so actually it's like renunciation mind. Okay, so we know that in this mundane world, the so-called pleasure is actually suffering. We have upside down views. And so we have the determination, we want to transcend this mundane upside down views, and obtain all wisdoms from Dhyana practice. Okay, so this has 4 levels. We have determination. We determine to do that. We vow. I mean, I'm really, this become my vow, life after life. Then it become a preference. Preference is like, oh, I vow to chant this sutra 100 times. But then, my friend asked me to eat out. Maybe I should do that. You have to make choices. You have to make choice, make decision. But you don't need to struggle when you go to the preference stage, because that's your preference. You easy pick your preference, right? I want to practice. Okay. And then be found out. It's like, I enjoyed practice, sitting there. Leg pain is not a problem, it become a joy. So usually, oftentimes when we sit there, Sifu always say, you got to love your breathing, love your breathing, and love your method, enjoy your method in order to, practice longer. So that's the 4 stages of determination that we practitioners all should equip with, okay, in order to persist at least 7 days here, right? And diligence, of course, because things would happen, right? And here, Master Zhiyi said that the diligence is, we only can sleep in the middle of the night, which is 10 p.m. to 2 p.m. Okay, so in ancient time, India divided the night, the sunset to sunrise. We call it night. It's from 6 a.m. sunset to 6 p.m. sunset. The night starts to 6 a.m. the sunrise, the night's end. So these are the 12 hours nights, and it's divided into 3 parts. The first part, the middle part, and the last part of the night. We only can sleep in the middle of the night. The beginning of the night and the ending of the night, these we still need to practice. But here we are not that great, we cannot do sleep samadhi, so we sleep longer, 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. here. Okay, so you got to push yourself, don't waste time sleeping. Okay, that's diligence. And because if you have experience for long practice, you know that the method, you go to deeper and deeper, subtler and subtler. You cannot, your power of practice, Gong Fu, need to persist at the very same level. It could be up and down in small scale, but it needs to be remained, uphold in the same level in order to reach samadhi. If you drop it, even for 10 minutes, your power is gone. Okay, so don't let the sleepiness or the drowsiness that break your practice. So that's what Zhiyi suggests. And in the Mahayana Prajnaparamita status, it even suggests that you have to leave home, uphold the precepts, very important, and keep strict diet. Don't eat complicated food and concentrate the mind. So diligence is very important mindset, and also be mindful. Bear in mind what? Bear in mind that this mundane world is not what I want. And the dhyanas are respectable and treasured. If I can fulfill all dhyanas, all the wisdom without outflow, and supramundane powers will manifest. And eventually, I will attain the Buddhahood to deliver all sentient beings. Okay, so we have to keep in mind that, no matter what difficulties, the leg pains, things, and my hatred in my mind come from my childhood, come out, let go. It has passed, the event has passed. Don't attach to the emotion. You will easily know that what you want. And then next, make the inside pick and choose with your insight. So you have the wisdom to choose, or the choosing is the choice is not just like, oh, my emotion and my method. This is too rough. Now, what we have to face the choices is that, wow, my body is so light, ease, peace, and harmony. I've been sitting for 2 hours straight. So good. Let go. This is not what we want. This is not Dhyana. There is no wisdom. Okay, so we have to have the insight. Okay, no. This is not what I want. The physical, sensational comfort and joy is not what I want. Okay, what I want is the wisdom without outflow and real tranquility. Nirvana is what I want. If we can achieve that, life and death is not an issue. We transcend the fear of life and death. Okay, so that's called insight for discernment. And then single-mindedness. It's also the mindset, mentality we need to equip with. Is once we decided the method, once we decided to practice samatha vipassana, then we need to practice it single-mindedly. And we will affirm. Then once we have single-mindedly mind on our practice, our mind will be firm enough and not to be upset by the demons. And one will not regress, even practice without any progress. Okay, so during the retreats, like I'm sitting here, I do whatever the teachers say, everything, and I'm in a very good condition. Where is Dhyana? Or even I have been practicing for 10 years. Where is Dhyana? Maybe this is not the right method for me. Then we don't have the single-mindedness on this method. So the single-mindedness is that this is my method. I just persist, no matter without progress. The demons, we will talk about that later. There is demonic situation happen. I won't let go. I won't give up. I'm not giving up. Still, follow the guidelines, just using the method, single-mindedly. Okay, so that's the 5 expedient means that are very, very important for practitioners in order to practice. I'm not talking about the main method yet. Okay, next time I will talk about main method of samatha and vipassana. And these 3 talks, I'm talking about the very famous, the so-called 25 expedient. 25 expedient means. That means 5 requisite conditions, condemn 5 desire, eliminate 5 hindrance, adjust 5 balance, and obtain 5 expedient means. That's 25 overall, 25 expedient means that that we all need to exercise even in the daily life in order for us to get to the main practice of samatha vipassana smoothly. So I'll stop the talk here. My next talk will be April 4th, April 4th. Next week is the speaker is Rebecca Lee, very important topics. So please join the talk as well. Thank you very much.
Do you have time for questions?
Yeah, I can take more questions.
Anybody have a question? So far, we haven't seen anybody. If you like to ask question, please raise your hand. Then we will unmute you.
If not, then
I have one question.
Okay, Elizabeth.
Can I be heard?
Yes.
Yeah. So could you just elaborate a little bit on what you mean by outflow? I think wisdom, outflow, that confused me a little bit. Yeah, without outflow, what?
Oh, good. Okay, that's a Buddhist term. So, for example, the so-called wisdom with outflow and without outflow means that without outflow means that the power can accumulate up all the way to Buddhahood, you know, to our final nirvana or the Dhyana. That with outflow, so without outflows usually means there is no vexations and no wrong views, and so it can keep accumulating. But with outflow, that means, you know, like a bucket with a hole in the bottom, you keep pouring water and it will leak. So for example, if I have a wisdom to know how to invest stock, I can make a lot of money from the stock. I have this wisdom. Okay, that's the wisdom with outflow. Because even though you make a lot of money, even you practice generosity, you donate money, you know, kind of like merit and virtuous things to do. But the problem is this wisdom need to exercise in a way that based on gain and loss. And this attachment to gain and loss is a wisdom with, we call it defile wisdom or mundane wisdom that has attachment behind. And then it will prevent you to transcend this mundane desire. And that's called the wisdom with outflow. So whatever the wisdom we have can be beneficial in some way, but there is a trap or attachment behind. And that's, you know, like a hole in the bucket that it will leak. So when you lose a amount of money, then you have problem. And
okay.
Without, yeah, okay. Without outflow, it's the wisdom. No matter what happened, it's okay.
So you want to be with outflow, not without outflow.
Without flow. Without flow. Hey, yeah, without, sorry. Oh, thank you for your correction. The wisdom without outflow. What did I say? Without outflow. That's the correct term is without outflow and with outflow. With outflow is a bucket with a hole. With outflow.
Okay.
Without
outflow, you've contained it and you're not attached.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. So please remember, you know, the main method. The main method is the most important one. So come back to the talk on April 4th. I will continue. Thank you.